I played Battlefield 2042 on the PS4, so you don't have to. Let's talk about some of the interesting issues that I found while playing. Just so that you're aware, no, I am not a fan of the PlayStation 4 edition, and I think it is quite a bit of a sellout just to try and get extra sales. Now, I wish they made a Battlefield 2042 that really pushed the limits of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which we know is possible from games like Days Gone that were crazy high fidelity. Even DICE's own game, Battlefield 5, looked beautiful on the PS5. On the PS4, you can't deny that fact that it looked beautiful. Maybe it's just a different color palette, but I don't think that's it. I'm seeing a very different art design and a less amount of effort in the previous gen games, because they know that most people are going to be switching over to next gen, and if the game looked and worked as well as it does on next gen, then they don't have that selling point to make an extra $10 out of you. Which, sure, $10, well, we just paid $60, $10, that's not that big of a difference, but if you multiply it by all the millions of people that would buy it, you're getting, like, you can get hundreds of millions of dollars just from that 10. To be more precise, probably in like tens of millions extra, but that's still a lot of money. They added a sixth of the price, and now they have to make it look like it's worth it. So they're selling a worse version that's not worth the $10 difference. It is a $30 game. Let's talk about some of the things that you will find while playing this Battlefield 2042 PlayStation 4 version. Now, if you have been playing games on the PC or any other console before and you've played 60 frames per second, when you get on this game, you're going to be playing 30 frames. It might not be the same for everyone, but I'm using a PlayStation 4 2015 console and it is just hitting 30, nothing above it. PlayStation 4, I do not have the extensive knowledge on the Pro version or the Xbox One X, but maybe if some of you are in the comments that haven't, feel free to comment it below what your experience has been with that, as that will help, and I'll pin them if I see it. But on the base consoles, you are getting 30 frames per second, and it's not fun. I don't have a fun time doing 30, and I might just be spoiled because I've been playing on the PC and PS5. Yeah, I guess I'm just spoiled. If you have only been ever playing 30 frames per second, then you wouldn't know the difference. It's only when you expose your eyes to that higher frame rate. Say like on a phone when they're at 120 Hertz. I've personally never had a 120 Hertz display, so I can't tell the difference. But if you went from a 120 Hertz display that you're using for a year to a 60, you would feel a lot of difference. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because that's what it feels for me. So 30 frames per second may not be that bad to a player that only lays on the PlayStation 4, as that didn't really get up to 60 too much in the later days. A lot of games were just hitting 30. Like I said, that's just my experience. If you have a different one, let me know about that. The graphics, oh, they are stinky. If you just watch this gameplay, if you look even like 2 meters in front of you, you just get these disgusting rendered images that are not very appeasing, especially if you compare it to the next gen. I have a video on current and next gen, so after this one, feel free to look at that. That really just expresses my thought, like it really just shows what I'm talking about. They do a good job with like reflections. So like you'll see puddles, you see like a beautiful reflection, and yeah, it's not using ray tracing, so it's not going to be perfect, but they did a good job there. But if you kind of walk up to any textures, my god, do they look horrible. I don't know how Battlefield 5 did it, but I have a theory that it's more just that they didn't put more work into rendering the game and smoothing it, making it more polished for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. That's just how I see it. So they needed to put more effort into polishing it, and that probably could have got them better results. It's not going to be a miracle work, obviously. It is quite dated gear when you compare it to how quickly the computer industry is moving, where, you know, every couple years your parts are becoming outdated. So it's expected that something's going to eventually become outdated, and the PlayStation, to be fair, has lasted a bloody long time, so congratulations to that. Like crazy, like 7 years. That is outstanding. Comes a time where it's gonna look like hot shit. Just how it works, and it's clear that they weren't investing in the PlayStation 4 edition for the benefit of gamers. They weren't like, you know, so many people own the PlayStation 4 version, we should give justice to that and help them. You know, we'll just leave some extra like high graphic fidelity and all that stuff to the next gen. No, they didn't do that. It's just a cash grab, you know? It's just a cash grab, which is why I'm saying I'm going to continue that sentence a bit later, and you'll find out why. I got a bit ahead of myself. Okay, sluggish. I was already complaining about the game being sluggish on next gen. Now it's on the next level because of 30 frames per second. So I can't really blame the PlayStation 4 edition for that, because that's just what the whole game is, but the 30 frames per second made it worse. We saw this glitch in the beta, which was the invisible weapons. Not fun at all. I don't appreciate it. It's gotten better, but I've still seen a few times where that invisible gun comes and it's annoying. It's not a big deal. It'll get fixed, but it's still annoying. It just shows that there was like a bit of lack of attention or care in the final version of the PlayStation Edition, where the next gen has been heavily polished. Now, Breakthrough is my favorite mode. If you don't agree with me, too bad. Everyone has their opinions. But the smaller scale in Breakthrough really hits, as the Breakthrough on the PlayStation 4 is the next gen version, except within the boundaries of the current gen maps. So for example, in Orbital, it will use the same size map as in Conquest, except it will go to each different section. So like it will start in the building instead of starting out in the foresty area and the open plains. So by doing that and making it still the same, so on the PlayStation 5 edition and the PC, you will still get the same objectives as the PlayStation 4 version, and with half the players. You lose extra dense, tight combat feeling, which the only way they could really fix it would be to say move or take away one objective, which would destroy kind of Breakthrough. Although I'm not opposed to one objective Breakthrough parts, because I feel like that is where the most intense combat happens. We haven't really seen that yet. I'm hoping they maybe make some maps that kind of fit with a Breakthrough mode. So like Iwo Jima, that kind of felt more like a Breakthrough map than a Conquest map per se. I would love more kind of like a linear maps, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that all maps should be that and they should all have conquests in mind, but it would be cool maybe they cut off certain areas for Breakthrough, made it a little bit thinner, make it a bit tighter, because right now these maps that Breakthrough gets are really open, and especially on the last gen, the PS4, does not really do justice. I mean, I talked about this in the beta video, but just missing huge sections of the map is really annoying, and when you compare it to the other edition, you feel like you've just been scammed, because there's no way that's a $10 difference. I thought all the other $10 differences were just like, oh, you know, in Ps4 21 you get better hair animations and stuff like that. No, completely changes the game. Portal can only have a maximum of 64 players, including bots, and Hazard Zone can only have 24 players, which I think is ridiculous, as it was definitely possible for them to get 32 players on, but just to add another selling point, they did that. I have no thoughts whatsoever that they were like, oh yeah, the game can't handle 32 players. Yeah, it could. They just wanted to give you another selling point so that they can sign their check and get that extra money out of you. Now, I feel like Portal could work with 64 players and 64 bots, but they didn't want to do that, which is just another selling point in my opinion. But I'd love for someone to tell me why that couldn't handle it, because, you know, they can do it in Warzone and stuff like that. It's definitely possible. You just have to put effort into it. That's the big idea, is that you have to put effort into previous gen, because you are really working hard to make it work with the console. It's a pain in the ass, I get that. But that's basically all the points I wanted to go over, the differences. There's a lot of other small ones. I don't have the patience to play the PS4 version for that long about an aneurysm, but if you like this video, I can probably put myself through more pain if you want me to. The only reason I was happy with this purchase was because I am able to play it on the PS5. So if you have no plans to upgrade to a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series S/X or PC, then don't bother with the game. I know it will feel like you're missing out if you're playing current gen, but it's for the better, and you don't want to have to experience current version of Battlefield 2042 on the PS4 or Xbox One. I promise you that you are not missing out. It is not nice and fun. It's very slow, very boring if you compare it. It's all about comparison. If this was the final version of Battlefield 2042 that we got, I mean, it has its issues, but it's not horrible. The problem is when you give a $10 difference for a next gen version where it's clearly not a $10 difference, then you start to feel a little scammed. This game should really be worth $30. So if you really want to end up getting the game, wait till it goes on sale. That's what I would say. Wait till it's $30. That's how much it's worth, $30. But otherwise, don't buy it. There's a few exceptions. I know there's a few people there's a few exceptions. I'm not going to go into that, but for the majority, on your average daily consumer, your person that has to work hard and has $70 to choose between, oh, if I want to get the new Call of Duty or the new Battlefield, don't get either, play something else. Please, if you're not sure what games to play, I can find you a list somewhere just to help you. I have played a lot of single player games, they're much better, don't bother if you're on current gen. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate you sticking around this long, and if you'd liked, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.